you chat?
Always. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Great. How are you?
I'm pretty good. I have no complaints, which is rare for me because I love to complain.
Speaking of complaining, let's fill the group in here about how I asked you and your husband to volunteer at a work thing for me.
I had complaints.
So let me just say the number of times that I've come and helped you do something for work.
While also complaining. Where's my food? My feet hurt. I'm tired.
No, I'm not talking about stuff like that. I'm talking about at night checking in invitations.
Oh, you've been an angel, and I would do it again.
Okay. So I say...
And I will say, before you slander me, my complaints were solely based on a fear that I would let you down. It wasn't that I was complaining. I showed up with bells on. I was just scared that I was going to do a bad job.
So I needed a couple people to... I usually have volunteers for this, but they fell through. And so I needed a couple people who would be free for a couple hours to come in and teach a lesson to elementary school kids, third graders. Like 2 hours in the morning. I'm like, hey, can you and Tyler do this? It's really easy. Like, you just go over it. The kids just want to see like someone other than their teacher. It makes it fun.
And without hesitation, I said, yes.
Sure.
I did.
And so...
Don't you ever wish you could roll the tape?
It's the morning of.
Okay.
You guys picked me up.
Yep.
We're in the car and you're like, I don't really want to do this.
No, I said I'm nervous.
I'm nervous. I don't really want to do this.
Maybe, but it was scary, Rachel.
I was like...
Wait, let me tell everyone what we received. So you ask for volunteers. I'm like, no problem. Love it. Happy to help. I'm there. Like 2 days before, we receive all the prep work of what we're like the lesson we're going to be teaching. And I love to talk. Like, you don't make a podcast with your best friend because you want to shut up. I love to talk. I love attention. This should be my Super Bowl.
This should be
An everlasting love affair with doing this.
Yes.
But no, because I suddenly realized I'm ill-equipped to teach this material. I'm like panicking that I'm going to do a bad job. It's 2 hours I have to occupy these children. I'm like, I'm going to let you down and you're going to be so disappointed in my performance. When I tell you the nerves I had going into this, I run full-fledged events with less anxiety.
Now, let me just preface, what you're teaching these kids is stuff that like really anyone would be able to talk to a student about. These kids are 8.
8-year-olds are notoriously judgmental.
Oh, okay.
And they say what's on their mind.
So if you're coming in to talk about like stress management, something that anyone could talk about, stress management. You're coming in to talk to them and you're like, this is what it feels like when these are words that you can associate when you're feeling anxious. These are things you can do. Like, here's some activities. What are things you guys do to relax? It's like literally like you're saying to the kids, get in groups of 4. The teacher's in the room and you're like, hey, get into groups of 4. And then you're like, you're going to fill out this sheet that is already printed and given to you as a volunteer.
But there were so many sheets.
Because there's activities.
I was afraid I was going to get the wrong sheet.
You're going to fill out this sheet and write down things that you guys find relaxing. And then another sheet is things that you guys find stressful. And you're going to talk about that in your group. And then we're going to come back and share out. It's not like rocket science.
I will say, having done it, I'm fine. I could do it again.
Oh, okay.
It was the anticipatory anxiety, the pressure of not wanting to let you down. I will say Tyler did not feel an iota of the stress. He thrived.
Well, what's funny is originally I was like, do you think you would want to do it with your mom?
Yeah.
And you were like, yeah, maybe. Tyler might want to do it, though. And Tyler was on speakerphone.
Yes.
And he was like, oh, no. Like,
what did you get me into?
Yeah, he was like, I don't think so. And then you're like, it'd be fun. And he was like, I'll see. And then he was like, okay, yeah, I'm good to do it. I can get off work. And then
he thrived.
He became the shining star of this experience.
No, I was Vanna White. I would get the pamphlets together. I would get
you would hand out the little vocabulary cards.
Yeah, like I was like, what do you need, sir? Yeah. Oh, yeah. The funniest thing was this little girl, though, she taps me on the shoulder at one point and she like motions for me to come close to her. And I'm like, yeah, can I help you? And she goes, is that your husband? And I go, yeah. And she goes, I could tell. Same last names on your name tag. I go, yeah, that's true. She goes, don't worry, I won't tell anyone. I go, you can. She thought we had like a secret, the two of us. I was like, kids say the darndest things.
That is my husband, and we are okay with people knowing. We usually tell people.
I was like, that actually made me feel a little better. Like I giggled about that. And then I was like, oh, wait, I have important assistant work to do. I got to get back on track.
Get back out there. What do you need, Tyler?
I was like, which pamphlet are we on? No, I'm not going to lie. I was extremely nervous.
So the whole car ride there, it's like, why were there so many materials? And I was like, I give you so much stuff so that you don't have to do really anything. Like you're just like up there. You can read directly from the book if you want to about the lessons. And you are welcome to riff if you want. And then you ask questions and just engage with the students. It's like 2 hours.
Not to throw other volunteers under the bus, though, but there were 6 of us volunteering and there were 5 of us complaining. So my husband, ironically, being the only one not.
No. There were
with concerns.
3 of you complaining.
No, with concerns.
No.
4 of us with concerns. One of us showed up at the last minute, so she didn't even have time to be concerned.
It was you and your mom.
And
that
your mom.
It. No.
And your dad had a lot of questions.
My mom had no concerns. My dad had questions that he called me about and then felt more than prepared. It was actually just you and your mom.
He said, I feel nervous. I said, are you nervous going in? And he said, yes.
No, he didn't.
I swear on my life.
Lies.
Would I bring my life into it? I would just say I swear on something benign. I swear on this leaf.
I can't imagine my dad being nervous for that.
He actually, what he did was like, me. He made like the like so-so.
Oh, okay. So he was trying to make you feel better about being nervous. I don't think so.
Let's call him. Call him.
Okay.
Roll the tape.
I'm going to.
Name him.
Hello?
Hi, Dad.
Hey, Rue.
I just wanted to ask. I was talking with Jonna, and she was saying how nervous she was yesterday to volunteer.
Oh.
And she said, I asked your dad, and he said he was nervous too.
Yeah, I wasn't really nervous. I just didn't want her to think that she was the only one.
Are you kidding?
Thanks for letting me know that she's there, Rue.
I was like, I cannot imagine my dad being nervous.
I didn't lie. Either way, I didn't.
She said he went, well, and I was like, that's because he's trying to make you feel better. And she goes, I don't know.
Either way, though, I didn't lie.
Oh, okay.
And
thank you, Dad. Yes.
Say bye.
Bye, Jack. Love you. Bye.
I'm going off what the man said. Sorry that I can't trust a word out of his mouth.
I feel like if you say, are you nervous? And they go, well, that's like they're trying to say no. This is like my dad's bread and butter.
I just think that
he's like Tyler.
I just like to be very similar to my mom. Like I like to be overly prepared. I think that's what I was saying with work. Like I never feel prepared enough. Like I don't want to just like pick something up and wing it. So the idea that I'm like winging it is so stressful. It's not for me.
Okay, if you were to ever do this again, I'll give you the materials so far in advance.
Oh,
you'll be studying for weeks.
A week would be fine. Just 1 week.
Okay.
Yeah. I love preparedness.
And then you're not going to do it. And the day before, you're going to be like, well, I didn't get to it.
Oh, no, I will. Okay. Because I will tell you, anxiety is the great motivator. 90% of the shit I get done is because I'm anxious about not getting it done. If I'm not anxious, I'm not anxious about putting my laundry away. Shit's been sitting there for a week.
We can tell.
No anxiety about that. So anywho's.
Yeah, so I tapped into my closest loved ones because my normal volunteers fell through.
You cannot trust anyone.
And my parents were great, as I expected. And I also had high hopes for you and Tyler.
Oh, I think we did great. The teacher said we did great.
I think you did great.
I
thought it was just going to be a like hoot and a half. It's fun. You go in there, you never get to like, you don't teach. So like you never get to interact with kids. You and your husband get to do something fun. You're giving back to the youths of America.
I had no post volunteer complaints. I don't know if complaining, I'm letting you run with it. I don't know if complaining is what I would say. I expressed concerns about my performance.
And then your performance was miming.
My performance was lackluster. But wouldn't you rather?
I would go in there and like Tyler's up there. I was telling Mike afterward, I was like, Tyler's up there at like the front of the room, like reading and then being like, how do you guys feel about that? Like he's like totally teaching the fucking class. Jonna's off to the side, like holding papers to be cued.
Stage left.
Yes, like literally standing off to the side. Every time I check in on them, like Tyler's busy talking and Jonna's just waiting for her cue to be like, Jonna, please pass out the next.
And I was like, oh, one per.
And she was like, here I am.
And
here I am, ready to pass out. Tyler was nicknaming kids. The kids get little like foldable tent things to write their names on that volunteers can read their names. And this one kid, his name was Maxwell, and he had on his thing Maxwell. And Tyler goes, yeah, and how about you, Max? And he goes, it's Maxwell. And Tyler goes, absolutely, Maxwell.
We were talking about that last night. He was like, I mean, he said it in quite an indignant tone.
Tyler's just like nicknaming people.
All right, I'm going to call you Max, though. Is that okay? Yeah, no, we talked about it. We enjoyed it. We had an enjoyable experience. I just didn't want to let you down. There are worse things than having someone who doesn't want to let you down.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was our activity for the week. The Ashley furniture debacle continues. I'm here to defame them.
Oh, your floor?
So, as you might remember from last week's episode, we got a new couch in the office. The delivery people accidentally scratched our floor. I was fine with it because they were like apologetic and were like, no problem. We'll take pictures. We'll have one of our guys come out and fix it. I'm like, you know what? Everyone makes mistakes. Well, they became huge assholes. So now I'm going to flame Ashley and I'm in a fight with them. We're in a fight with them.
What happened?
So that happened last week. They claim we're going to hear from someone by the end of the day. The delivery was in the morning. Like 4:00, we don't hear anyone. So Tyler emails the like customer service thing and is like, hey, I know the business day is ending soon. Just want to make sure this was reported. This happened. They message back and we're like, oh, we didn't receive that report, but we'll follow up and get back to you.
Did you take pictures too?
We did.
Okay.
So a couple days go by, don't hear anything. So Tyler uses the chat feature because he has like a case number to be like, hi, what's going on? They're like, oh, sorry, we'll follow up with you. He gets an email back that's like, hi, you actually, with like a copy of the document, you actually signed a damage waiver. So all damages that occurred to your home are not our responsibility. Have a good day.
You signed a damage waiver?
And they said you signed a damage waiver prior to the delivery. Well, something to know about my husband is he keeps receipts. He loves to write the Better Business Bureau. An angry email is no concern to him. So he pulls all of the info from our Ring camera that shows he didn't sign anything prior to them entering the house. Mm-hmm. He shows, because they say the time of signature and they say it was signed prior to delivery. He shows the Ring camera time that they arrived at our house. This is not signed until like 13 minutes later.
Oh.
Like pulls all these receipts, sends it back to them and is like, one, I would never sign a damage waiver after you've damaged my house because that would be stupid. Two, I wasn't even given this document. I was handed an iPhone where it just had a signature line. It didn't even show a bunch of text and said, please sign for your delivery to say that you've received the delivery.
Yeah, you didn't tell me that was a damage waiver.
He goes, so not only would I not have signed a damage waiver, I was never told it was a damage waiver. I just signed for the delivery. Here are the times, whatever. They email back. They didn't even read the email. Literally, it was like 2 seconds later. Because of your signature on the damage waiver, all damages are not covered. Now, he's great at an email.
Who is emailing back? Like
Ashley Furniture.
It's just
customer
corporate,
service,
or
yeah.
it's a person.
It's like a customer service rep.
Okay.
He's good at an email. I am good at a phone call.
Yeah, we're gonna need to escalate this.
I'm like, I'm gonna fucking call. So I call, and I'm so ready to be really mean to this girl, but she's actually really lovely and nice. So I didn't have anywhere to put my anger. I'm losing my patience. This is the whole thing. She reads it. She's like, I totally agree with you. I'm gonna escalate it. It should be fine. I'll get back to you within 24 hours. This was 2 days ago. So I have to call again this afternoon.
So we wait.
We wait. So you cannot trust anyone.
You know what's frustrating about this?
What?
I mean, aside from the obvious.
Yeah.
It's just like the general, like, what it says about businesses. And like, you have to be the type of person who will like chase someone down just to get what's fair.
Do the right thing.
And like, if you're not that type of person, or you don't have the means to do that, like maybe you're like a single mom
Totally.
who lives in a 1-bedroom apartment and just ordered this couch with every last penny, and they scratched her floor.
And it's a rental, and she's going to have to pay for it when she moves out.
Yes. And she's like, will you guys fix this? Like, and they're like, oh yeah. And then they're like, no, you signed a waiver. Like, and she doesn't have the time to follow up on all of these fucking people to fix her floor. Like, it's just like you're taking advantage of just good people.
And it costs them nothing. Like, Ashley Furniture can't just send out a person to fix our floor. I am going to devote my life to flaming Ashley Furniture.
Well, that kind of did sound like, what do they have, a floor fixer?
It just sounds like a quick fix though. Like, I could literally go in the Yellow Pages right now and find a floor guy.
But like Ashley Furniture corporate, like it's not coming from like a local, I don't know.
I mean, it did sound too good to be true, and that's because it was.
He was lying.
Yeah, he was lying.
The delivery guy was like, yeah, we'll send someone.
For sure. And I'm also sure they were freaking. Like, at first I felt bad for these people. Like, I actually said to Tyler, I'm like, oh God, I feel bad. I feel like they're probably going to get in trouble. I hope they, and I actually said that in my phone call. I'm going to be honest. At first I felt really bad about your drivers getting in trouble about making a mistake. Now I can tell that they just were deliberately misleading us, and I hope they get in trouble for this. To lie and say that this was signed. They wrote in their report that he signed the damage waiver upon arrival.
No.
I didn't sign anything until the couch was in the office and the floor was scratched.
And then you think I'm going to sign a damage waiver after the floor is scratched?
They were probably like, oh shit, we didn't get this signed, and now there's damage.
Right.
Whoops.
Well, let that be a lesson to all of our listeners. If there is damage, once the delivery is there, do not sign.
And don't ask if there's a damage waiver and never sign it.
Yeah.
I would, if someone ever told me, hey, we're about to deliver something into your house, can you sign this document that if we fuck something up in the house, we're not responsible? I'd be like,
No. Leave it outside.
No.
Yeah. Again, white glove?
That is the kicker. We paid for white glove delivery.
Right.
I paid you to scratch my floor. So the fight continues. I will update people. I will not let this go. They have messed with the wrong people. Tyler's already submitted his complaints to the Better Business Bureau of Illinois and federally. I didn't even know you could do that until we got married.
He's like, absolutely.
He's like, submitted.
And next I take on Ashley Furniture, India.
Literally. Ashley better be quaking. Anywho's, you want an icebreaker?
Oh, I would love one.
So I'm curious, because you aren't really a big emoji user. What is your top 3 most used emojis?
Oh. Should I just look right now?
Yeah.
Or should I know?
No, I don't know.
Okay.
So what do we got?
My first most used one is the emoji that's like the half smile.
Oh, smirking.
The smirking emoji.
Mm-hmm. You like to smirk in real life too.
Yep. My next one is the one with like dashes for eyes and then a dash for the mouth. Like, what the fuck?
Yep.
That one?
Yep.
And then my last one is like the okay emoji with the hand.
Oh, like telling you it's A-okay.
Yes.
Those all track for you. Okay, so number 1 is the one where he's got his hand on his chin, like he's thinking. He's inquisitive.
Oh, like,
My next is the eye roll.
Oh.
Which I love to roll my eyes in real life. And then the one with hearts all around its face. Like, it's a smiley one with, I just texted it to you.
Hard eyes?
No, it's
what does that imply?
like, ooh, I love you so much.
Oh, I don't think you've ever sent this to me.
I think I have. I feel I have to.
When do you use that? I've never seen that before.
Like, oh my God, Jack looks so cute. That one. Do you know what the most popular emoji is, though?
What?
Like the most popular ones.
What is it?
So the one that I used, that heart one.
That heart one?
Yep. The face with tears of joy.
Oh, like laughing your ass off. I feel like I probably used to use that more, but now I just haha something.
Yeah, because now you have reactions.
Right.
The folded hands that look like they're praying or like for gratitude. And the smiling with a halo. Those are the most popular in 2025.
Smiling with a halo.
Like a little
like
angel.
Faith type shit.
Maybe. I pictured it like I'm a little angel. But maybe.
Interesting.
It just made me think that like emojis are so, I don't know what the word is, like
Special?
I think to your point, like I don't feel like I don't use them that much anymore because we have the reactions. Like they used to be more popular.
I still appreciate an emoji. I don't know. I feel like I use them. I just don't use the like. I do love having like the love and the like reactions on iPhone.
Oh, love.
Because that's just a total game changer.
And I like that now I can do haha or like emphasize something.
Yes.
But I just don't use the emojis the way I used to. I used to be someone who had like emojis next to all my contacts, which felt very early 2000s.
Yes.
Like everyone, we've got emojis. We embrace them.
We love an emoji.
We put them everywhere. Now I'm like, oh yeah, there's emojis.
I don't have emojis for any of my contacts. You probably still do for work people.
Yeah, work people I do, just to code them in my address book.
But I do have contact photos for everyone.
Oh my God, me too. I love contact photos.
People who don't use a contact photo, boring.
You know what I hate when people preset their own contact photo. I have a client right now who made his contact photo like a bear.
Uh-huh.
It's so annoying when he calls me, a bear pops up. I'm like, I don't know you like that.
You know who does that?
Who?
Janet Van Deen.
It's a mom thing. Like, and I have one. Like, I have a contact photo set on my like Apple account.
Yeah.
But I don't make it.
I think you have to.
But I don't make it default for other people.
Yeah, no.
Like, it just is the
I don't
photo.
care about that. Yeah.
I don't like that at all. So yeah, just a little emoji icebreaker.
Yeah, good icebreaker.
Thank you.
Did I tell you about that article I read that was about living close to your friends?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Good one?
Yes.
Do tell.
So I read an article this past week from The Atlantic that says the case for living closer to your friends.
Okay.
And it said they make your life better, so why not turn them into your neighbors? So this whole article is about how back in like earlier days of like up and coming America, like early to mid 1900s, people would like obviously immigrate here, so then they all lived in the same neighborhood. Like you'd move here because you had a cousin here, you know, you're from Italy or whatever.
Right. They'd live in those communities. That, like,
And they'd all sort of live within like a few block radius. And then that shifted at some point when the sort of, this says like close to, 70s, 80s, when the cultural shift was more on like your career. So you move for your job.
the dark days. When everything went dark.
Pretty much. So instead of living close to your friends, it was like, well, you got a job out here. And then like, obviously the economy comes into play. Like, so your job is here, but you can't afford to live there. So you commute, and like, it became about not living close to your people.
Okay.
And it's obviously a factor when people choose to buy a home. Like, oh, I don't want to live too far from my parents or my siblings or whoever, but not necessarily like walking distance is not
A priority.
a priority for most. It is for you and I.
We've maintained that. We're from the early 1900s.
We are from the early 1900s, and it hasn't seemed to me like we're doing something so radical.
It doesn't seem radical to me, but people are oftentimes like, that's so nice you guys live by each other. Like as if it's like
As if it just happened.
Well, and it's also if it's like something they're not in control of. Like as if they were given a home and they must reside there. I'm like, you too could move by your friends.
I have not lived more than like 5 minutes from you or like 5 steps from you since
2014.
we met. And that's
And some people say it's codependence.
and
but-
that's purposeful.
and that's intentional.
Yes.
I would live close.
Things don't just lay out that way.
I would live close to all of our friends,
Same.
but they don't want to.
They don't want to. And we're like, well, we live here.
But I also do understand it can be limiting, so I don't want to put them on blast.
So let me just share some snippets from this article. She says, sometime during the pandemic lockdowns, I began to nurture a fantasy. What if my neighbors were actually all of my friends? Every day as I was just taking long walks throughout my neighborhood, nothing to do, I would be like, wouldn't it be fun if we could just meet up in my friend's backyard without having to go anywhere? Or to be able to stop by and have dinner together when you don't have it already pre-planned. how much fun would it be to have more spontaneous hangs? You stop over for 20 minutes to hang out and then head home. And me personally, I'm sitting here reading this being like, yeah, it is fun.
Done it.
It's really fun. And so she says, this doesn't just have to be a dream. Friends who already live in the same city could decide to move within walking distance of one another, the same neighborhood, block, or even apartment building, and campaign for others to do the same. Doing so would obviously involve a lot of effort on the front end. The resulting community could pay emotional dividends for years to come. She goes on, obviously, like, then she talks about the history of it, like, your nuclear family has defined your home for, you know, forever. But before that, Americans lived surrounded by friends and family. Clan-style groups of kin and non-kin remain standard in many cultures. Like, that's still how a lot of people live, not in the U.S. And if you even think about, like, you know, your favorite TV shows, Friends, people living across the hall from each other, it's something that people, like, appreciate but don't necessarily
prioritize.
Yes. They talk in this article about, like, starting to prioritize your career, and so that's when sort of the shift began. But it says researchers have found that happiness spreads like an emotional contagion, especially among those who live closer together. When one person becomes happier, their next door neighbor's chances of also growing happier rise by 34%. Friends living within a mile of each other are 25% more likely to feel happy, and their friends have a 10% chance of feeling happier too.
I personally would say I'm probably 42% happier than the average.
42 specifically?
Yeah, than the average bear.
She said having a pal is also just practical. For people with kids, having a friend in your neighborhood who could stop into your house when you are running late or whatever, like something to borrow.
A cup of sugar.
Yes. Knocking on the door. It says knocking on the door for a bowl of sugar is a thing of the past.
Yeah. No, I agree with all of this.
And so she says, obviously it requires a lot of masterminding. Like, what are the chances that you can all find homes in the same neighborhood? But she's like, it can be done. Or you can just try and become closer with your actual neighbors, but those aren't necessarily people you would pick to be.
I do have a friend who's become, like, very close with her neighbors. Like, she just happened to move to a neighborhood and, like, they love their neighbors.
Oh, good.
So they've made lemonade out of their lemons. Not that their neighbors were lemons, but like,
is it the lemonade as good as if it were her actual friends?
I don't know. I think she would say these people have become, like, actual friends.
Okay.
Like, different actual friends. I don't think immediately, but they've lived there for a few years now, and now they all kind of have kids in the same age group, and they're going to go to school together. And so I think she would say, like, they're her adult friends. So I think it's a good option if like you're not going to be committed, because I get it, and I say this all the time, like, we've made our villages too big. Like, you used to not live in a 70-mile radius of people that you were close with. Like, that just wasn't doable. And I get it that, like, all of our friends have different, like, school districts they want their kids to go to, or their parents are in different places, and so, like, it makes more sense to be close to their parents or whatever. And you have to be committed to, like, living by each other, because then if one person moves, that person's kind of set the tone for, like, where you're moving, and like, it's a lot. So I don't think it's, like, as easy as just, like, let's buy houses together, but I think being committed to being within, like, a very close radius is important.
Just, like, I think if you and your friends are like, well, we both want to live in the same, like, couple of different suburbs, it's not like we have, like, a specific place, and you're both gonna be, like, finding homes around the same time.
No, I agree with that for sure. I think what happens is, like, people then become parts of different socioeconomic classes,
right? And then which makes it harder. And I think people don't like, we're used to options, so I think people don't like feeling restricted to, like, one neighborhood
or one area. I don't mind it, but I think it just becomes more challenging as you get older and have more kids who are in different activities, you know, like, you just have different priorities. But I think if you start it from an early age, it just becomes the norm.
I just think the nice part about it is, like, obviously, yes, the community, like, when you have kids, and, like, we're not going to live in these homes forever, but, like, our next homes.
Oh, I love these homes, though.
True. Our next homes, like, if, you know, like, you can just say, like, okay, yeah, go run across the street to their house. Yeah. Like, you don't have to, like, drive them. Totally. Or, like, if they want to play and then come home for dinner. Like, all of that just makes it so much easier to live in the same area like that. And even now, like, I'll stop by your house because it's like, it's hard to say on my way home because it is home, but like,
yeah,
your house is next to my house, basically.
I wouldn't want to live somewhere where I didn't have, like, it's so nice if like we're out of town and we're like, oh, can you run over and put our garbage cans out or put them in, or like, can you let the dogs out, or we can do that for you, or can you, it's just like so comforting to have someone else who could do something at your house that now I've been spoiled by it. Like, I can't imagine living in a place where like I didn't have someone I trusted to do that.
And also like
why make life harder?
Right.
I know, life is hard enough.
Yeah, I just don't like when you live close enough to each other. Like, we could hang out when like, because you could walk over and like hang out in our backyard, especially when you have a baby and you're not really like leaving the house much. Like, you could just walk over and like hang.
Oh, it's, yeah. My husband walks by our house every day.
Absolutely.
He takes those dogs on a walk.
Remember when my crock pot broke?
Ah, yes. I think we were out of town.
You were out of town.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm coming to use your crock pot.
And you wouldn't have done that if it was 20 minutes. Like, you're not going to drive 40 minutes round trip for a crock pot.
No, I'm not going to drive 10 minutes round trip.
Yeah.
I'm really not.
Yeah. No, I listen, I want us, I'm going to sound like a trad wife, but I am for a simpler life.
Well, you always talk about how you wish our homes were connected by a tunnel so you don't have to go outside at all.
I just don't like the elements, really. I just like a simpler time. Like, I was talking to a friend from work today, and he was talking about, he's a little older, and he was talking about when he was in college, how like no one was obsessed with their phones. Like, he was like, you would like go out and like you had phones, but you weren't like on them. Like, they were a means for communication. And I was like, we have just fucking ruined it. Like, I want to go back when like you played with your neighbors in the street and like everyone in the neighborhood got like impromptu together for like sitting out on the lawn and having a drink together.
Yeah.
Like, I genuinely don't understand how we thought we were going to make life better. Everyone's attached to their cell phones. No one knows who the hell their neighbors are.
I think there's some people who are like we're friendly with our neighbors, but they're not even one of our neighbors is like a retired older couple. Like, we're not going to hang out with them.
Our main neighbor is a retired older couple.
And very nice.
So nice.
And like, they have taken our garbage out for us before when we've been out of town. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm out of town with you and our trash has to go out.
Right.
Like, you can be friendly with your neighbors, but not to a point where like, not everyone's going to be that close where you want to really hang.
There's a difference between friendly and friends.
Yes. Yeah, I just like, I can't remember who I was talking to about this, but they were talking about moving and they were like, well, you and Jonna live so close together, but do you think your kids will like go to school together? And I was like, yes.
That's how school districts work.
Yes, I do. Like, and not only is that like important, but I just think it's like more fun. Like, if we're going to a school holiday concert, I'd rather sit at that concert with you.
For sure.
And laugh at the kids singing off key.
I mean, maybe they're going to be gifted. We don't know.
We don't know.
They might be singing perfectly
like,
on key.
I would rather go to that with you. If your kids don't go to the same school, we're not going to that shit together.
I mean, I'd go to Jack's concert. Come on. But
when you have a bunch of kids, there's a lot going on.
For sure. I agree. It's a goal. I think it's important to keep in mind.
Like playing the same park district teams, like all of that stuff is like, that's only if you live in the same area.
But the question becomes, how do you maneuver that? Like, we've been really fortunate. Like, how do you keep that up long term? Like, do we have to hold like a council to determine our next town? I'm happy to stay in this town, by the way, and I've said that, but you don't seem so keen.
I'm open.
We'll have to have a council. We'll have a conclave.
We'll have a conclave to pick the next town.
Yeah.
Speaking of conclaves,
I mean, it happened a while ago, over a week ago, but the beloved Pope has passed.
The Pope has passed.
I actually do think he was really good for the Catholic Church.
Do you?
Not that I don't think John Paul II was great for the Catholic Church, but I think he was so much more liberal. So I was sad to see. He was 88 though. So
was your mom as upset this second time that he died?
Oh my God. Yeah. My mom got some false information. My mom is like
a month ago.
My mom is very very serious about her Catholicism and very attached to the Pope, more so than I think I even knew. When we got married in Paris, she went to Italy after and was fortunate enough to go to mass at the Vatican and actually physically see the Pope. I think he was like 3 feet from her, and Tyler was half kidding, but he was like, I think that was the highlight of her trip. And it was. It was the same trip that we got married, but I think the highlight was seeing the Pope. And she's spoken about it quite a bit over the last week.
She's been blessed.
But so a month ago, she texted like distraught, like the Pope has died. And we were like, no, he didn't.
No,
and it was like, oh yeah, I was with her. Oh my God, I was with her. And she started crying. And then I texted Tyler and was like, the Pope died. And he was like, no, he didn't. And I was like, what? It was obviously my mom's very susceptible to online scams. Like if you want to email her about her iPass or her taxes,
she's open.
She's clicking the link. So she was very distraught. Just as distraught this time, but at least with good reason. So Easter Monday, the Pope passed away after complications from a stroke. He passed away on the holiest day in the Christian year.
Wow.
So,
Monday is?
I mean, he probably passed away Sunday night, I'm assuming. They announced it Monday morning. Easter Monday is also a big deal. Who said Francis died at 7:35 a.m. local time? This man Farrell will act as the head of the Vatican in the interim because there's a mourning period that will happen. And then the conclave, which now everyone saw the movie, so I think people are pretty well versed in it. But the conclave will start to take place, I think it's between May 4th and May 11th. And that's where all of the cardinals of the world will come together and basically be sequestered as they determine who the next pope's going to be.
What's crazy is that, like, I was on Easter, I was watching the news, like, at night before going to bed, and they were showing the Pope was, like, out. Riding around in his Pope-mobile.
Yeah, crazy.
I mean, he didn't look well.
I know. Like, let the man rest.
But he was out. And then to just like, he just died the next day. It's so crazy.
Can you believe JD Vance, of all people, got an audience with him? Like, Jesus Christ. I saw a meme that was so funny. It was like, do I think JD Vance killed the Pope? No. Do I think he drained the Pope of the will to live? Yes. And I was like, that is the most accurate thing I've ever seen. I feel like Pope Francis met with him and was like, oh, so you're just an evil motherfucker.
Why did JD Vance need to meet with the Pope the day before he died?
I mean, in JD's defense, I don't think he knew.
I just mean, like, what was
he just wanted an audience with the Pope. I mean, there's been a lot of controversy because the Pope, being the Pope, has been very outspoken about the way that the Trump administration is handling immigration.
Oh.
And basically being like, you're preying on this group of people who are less fortunate, and obviously is not a big fan of Trump and JD. And so I think he wanted the optics of being seen with the Pope.
And that he was.
The optics went real south when he was the last person, one of the last people to see him alive.
Yeah.
Like, you are not who that man wanted to see before he died.
And now they're going to pick a new one.
Yep, they'll pick a new one.
Are there any front runners?
If there are, I don't know, because it's not like it's much like our sorority. The position seeks the member. In our sorority, you couldn't campaign. You couldn't campaign. That is much how the Pope works. You just go there, and if they think you're the Pope, you become the Pope.
Interesting.
Yeah. So people are like, what do you think the Pope thought of JD Vance? And I'm like, he made it pretty clear. He'd rather die than discuss him. He's like,
forget it. I've seen the future.
I'm out. But I do feel bad. I think he was a lovely, lovely man.
Rest in peace, Pope.
Rest in power.
Rest in power,
Pope Francis. Pope Francis.
Seemed like a nice man.
He did. He seemed lovely. He was very modest. He didn't like all the flashes.
That's what we want out of a Pope. Modest.
I think, yeah. But I mean, he didn't even live in like the main Pope's residences, which are like a little bit more flashy.
Oh.
He wanted to live a more modest life.
He's a low-key dude.
Which, like, I can appreciate, but like, I mean, if they're going to put you up in the nicer apartment, the apartment's going to waste.
True that.
If you don't live in it, not like someone else does.
Right. Might as well.
While he was being laid out for people to view, a nun came who they were saying was like a very close friend of his, and she was like sobbing, which I felt horrible, but I was like also so curious what their friendship was like. Like, do you think they ever talked about like normal things? Like, if you're a pope and a nun, it sounds like the beginning of a joke, but like
you think she gets to his house and she's like, you do the Wordle, Pope?
Yeah, like, what did they talk about? Like, was it mostly just like religion focused, or she was like, did you see Jeopardy? That guy was a loser. I hope the second.
I hope the second. I think they're probably normal people underneath it all.
Yeah.
Speaking of underneath it all, when you are a nun,
Yeah.
when can you have your hair out?
I don't know.
Like,
well, there's some nuns that like they wear like the partial thing and their hair's out in the back.
okay, but either way, like when they're having dinner together, can they take off their hats?
They're called habits, I believe, but I don't know.
Okay, head coverings.
I honestly don't. I've never hung out with a bunch of nuns for dinner. I mean, that might surprise you.
But like in school, like did you ever see them without their hats on?
No, but they were out in the world.
So anywhere out in the world, definitely not. But like if they're off-duty nuns, can they go to Target without their hat on?
Yeah, no, they can. And like I know there's some orders of nuns that don't even wear the habit.
But the ones that do,
I think they can like be out in the world without their stuff. It's like a uniform.
You wouldn't know maybe that you're in line behind a nun.
But like priests always wear it, I think.
Yeah.
I've never seen a priest in like normal clothes.
I feel like they always wear the like collar thing, but they
Right.
wear like a sweater sometimes.
If it's chilly, maybe. But yeah.
I saw one in line at Dairy Queen one time and I was like, whoa.
Father? Yeah, the uniforms are pretty strict, I think.
Just a wondering.
I read an article once about a girl who thought she wanted to be a nun, and really she was just having like a psychotic break. She wrote this whole
that explains it.
and like her parents were like, it was like such a 180. Like she was like a I don't want to say nuns aren't normal, but she was like a normal girl in high school, like going to college, didn't get into a couple of schools she wanted to, like started to have a psychotic break, was like a very high achieving kid and was like breaking under the pressure, and said that like God had spoken to her and wanted her to be a nun, and her parents were like, oh my God, like she's schizophrenic. But she followed through. Her parents dropped her off at like the convent, like this random convent that she joined because you have to like apply, get in, whatever. She was
to apply?
I think, yeah. There's like
is there like a nunnery? Do you get trained?
No, but like you get dropped off at the convent and you're like the lowest on the totem pole and you like get acclimated, whatever. So she was a nun for like 6 months and then like woke up one day and was like, oh my God, I don't want to be a nun. Like, what have I done? And called her parents. They came and got her. But she said like very nice things about the nuns. She was like, they're really normal people. Like, and I was like, oh my God, like, can you imagine your psychotic break? You wake up, you're in a convent.
Yeah, I mean, something really.
But her parents were like, yeah, we're coming. We thought this was weird.
When you were talking about JD Vance, it reminded me of all the crazy news that's been coming out lately from RFK.
When you say crazy news, it's like literally could be anything. But yes, RFK.
So obviously the chemicals in food. Have you seen anything about that?
Are taking it all.
Yep. Which I'm
fine
for.
with.
Please do.
Go for it.
Is there anyone out there who's like, we love red dye 40?
I haven't seen anyone lobbying for it. No.
It only makes the like food companies change their.
What makes me laugh is the Republicans now who are like this, when like if this were a Democrat, they would be like, these granola motherfuckers can't tell us what to feed our kids. It's like, it never used to be crunchy granola and Republican were in the same Venn diagram, but go on.
True that. So aside from that, RFK gave a speech about wanting to create a registry tracking Americans with autism. Basically, as health secretary, he's trying to fulfill his like promise of finding the root cause of autism. Part of that, I think, was the like food thing and the whatever. I don't want to spread any sort of
misinfo.
But he directed the National Institutes of Health, NIH, to use federal records, private insurer claims, and even smartwatch and fitness tracker data to keep tabs on Americans' info to try and to have a registry of people with autism diagnoses.
Okay.
Which is, I think, probably illegal.
Why does he have such a boner for autism?
And it says the move comes as RFK Jr. makes autism a central focus of his tenure, calling the disorder, quote, an epidemic and attributing it to environmental factors and vaccines. Although decades of research dispute those claims. Last week, he said that autism is, quote, preventable and that people with the disorder can't play sports or pay taxes, neither of which is true.
Tell that to the Love on the Spectrum cast who's been paying a lot of taxes.
So that's actually funny because Love on the Spectrum cast members have been coming out.
Love.
Saying like, I pay taxes. I go to work every day. Like, what are you talking
fucking
about?
weirdo.
You are so dumb.
No, literally. You know what's an epidemic? Idiots in office. I'd love some research on that.
Yes, agreed. And they're saying, like, have you not ever heard the term spectrum? Autism is a spectrum, much like stupidity.
And you're clearly on the furthest end.
You are on the
Severe.
furthest end of severe stupidity.
Oh my God.
But they're like, you can have autism to the point where like you're nonverbal and you cannot work, but you could also have a really mild form.
I've said for many years I think I'm on the spectrum.
Well, we know that's true.
Nothing backs it up, but I've thought it. Who among us hasn't thought they're on the spectrum?
Me.
You've never thought you're on the spectrum?
No.
Huh. Interesting.
It's just getting a lot of backlash, rightfully so, because that is so stupid.
It's so crazy to me that the logic, which makes perfect sense, and everyone keeps saying is there's more kids with autism because there's more diagnosing of autism. It doesn't mean that there's more autistic people. It means that we
Correct.
have the tools and can recognize autism easier than ever before. And all these people online are writing really funny things like, you're right, there's more autistic kids than ever before. My neighbor who I lived next to growing up, who had 7,000 dinosaur figurines in his basement organized by size, was not on the spectrum. It's like, he was autistic. No one ever said anything because it was 1971.
Right.
It's like why there's more divorces. People just feel empowered to leave bad marriages
When they couldn't before.
when they couldn't.
Correct.
It's why there's more women in jobs because they were empowered to get jobs
And couldn't before.
and couldn't before.
Yeah, it's really just like a crazy time. You didn't watch The Pitt, did you?
No, but I'm going to.
Are you?
It's on my agenda for the weekend.
Can you please watch Love on the Spectrum?
I did try since we last spoke.
Really?
I did. It doesn't suck me in.
You are the only person in the world who feels that way.
Okay, I'll try again.
It's so good. What?
I don't know.
Try again. Try and try again.
Okay. If at first you don't
Holy
succeed.
shit. Try again. There was an episode of The Pit though, which was really good. And like Mike and I just finished the show, but there was like this behind the scenes thing where it talked about how all the actors that were hired to be doctors had to go through like a 3-week intensive mini med school where they all had to learn like how to intubate, how to like
Interesting.
they did like a whole so that they really could
Do these things?
do these things.
That's crazy.
Like they wanted it to be the most realistic medical show, and a lot of people now who work in ERs are like, that is exactly what it's like.
Well, now, see, can I watch The Pit first?
Sure, but then you must watch.
I'll try again.
No, it was really good, but they had an episode where a kid came in with like really odd symptoms and was like unresponsive but like really ill, and they figured out that he has measles,
Because he didn't get his vaccine.
and the parents get to the hospital and they're like, because he was like a 13-year-old, and they were like, did he have his MMR vaccine? And they were like, no, because we don't know what's in those, but hopefully we can just treat this. And the doctors were like, okay, yeah, we're gonna have to do a spinal tap to see what sort of bacteria or whatever. And the mom didn't want them to do a spinal tap. She was like looking online. She was like, well, it says that the risks of that could be like, she didn't want like any medical intervention. Mind you, he's at a hospital. Like, well, what do you want then?
Well, then you should take him home.
Well, why don't we just treat this with sunshine and raindrops? And maybe that will work.
That's what freaks me the fuck out is like people don't understand herd immunity. So like we're going to start paying the cost for morons not vaccinating their kids.
Yes.
Because eventually, if not enough people have the vaccine, getting the vaccine won't be enough. And we'll all have to live like Bubble Boy.
It was just like the doctors on the show. I mean, I know it's a show, but they were like, okay, well, if we can't do the spinal tap, like your son might die. So,
You pick, lady.
and the mom still didn't want it. Like, what
do you want?
What do you want? You want him to die? Like, they don't believe that modern medicine is real at all.
I get really vindictive when this comes up and I don't like that side of me. But like the real people who are like that, I'm like, that is so fine. Please,
Let your son die.
no, please move out of the city and do not go to doctors anymore. You're making it annoying for us to try and make appointments. If all the morons didn't try and make doctor's appointments, I bet I could get in sooner. Wait times at ERs go down. Like, you don't get to pick and choose when you want modern medicine.
Right.
And that's an ugly thought, and I shouldn't think it.
But
I do. I get very vindictive about healthcare.
Yeah, it's just a crazy...
Like, go live on a farm.
It's a crazy time. So that's what's been going on in the Trump administration. Oh, and another thing that's going on. I'm sorry. One more thing that's going on in the Trump administration. The baby boom agenda.
Oh, I've heard of this.
So there's a, quote, pro-natalist movement, which wants Americans to marry and multiply.
Very Handmaid's Tale-y.
And Elon Musk and JD Vance are leading the charge on this. The administration seems to be exploring ways to encourage higher birth rates, and Pronatalists' Pinterest board of policy ideas includes everything from reserving some government-funded scholarships for married people with kids to offering classes on the menstrual cycle. Interest groups are also pitching the White House on a $5,000 post-delivery baby bonus called, quote, the National Medal of Motherhood for women with 6 or more kids.
6 or more. Okay.
And
these are the same people who don't want any resources for these people.
Absolutely, they are. And expanded child tax credits. While the policy ideas are in flux, the Heritage Foundation, yes, the same one behind Project 2025, will release a report of suggestions in the coming weeks.
I hate it here.
The pro-natalism movement isn't exactly unified. They're split on IVF, which is interesting because, like, do you want people to have more kids or not? But one thing's clear, Trump is buying into it. He called himself the, quote, fertilization president, which is disgusting. New York Times says he's weighing policies to boost birth rates.
It's like each year Handmaid's Tale gets closer and closer.
I mean, like, I don't understand why you would give people like a financial bonus for having children. Just make things that go along with having children more affordable. Daycare, healthcare.
Give women a mandatory minimum of 8 weeks maternity leave.
Like, all of those things make it easier to have children.
It's so difficult to be a working parent in this country, and they're like, you know what will fix this? A one-time payment of $5,000 if you have 6 kids. It's like, no, if you want, the problem, people who have 6 kids also are not your issue.
No, I feel like
they're good. They got 6 kids.
I don't want to offend people, but I feel like a lot of those people with 6 kids are like the people who are like, you know, hoarding their kids, and then one has to escape to tell the police that they've like haven't been fed in weeks.
I actually think that's people who have 8 kids or more. 6 is kind of a gray area, but
okay.
I do hear what you're saying.
You see where I'm going?
Yeah, no, for sure. I just
like, why did you have 12 kids to then chain them to the beds?
Exactly.
Something I'm wondering.
I just am so...
They're like, for every 6 kids, we get $5,000.
I'm so over the bullshit. Like, it's so dumb. They're all so dumb. It honestly all feels like an SNL skit. It's not even interesting to make jokes about because it's so stupid. I'm at a loss.
So that was some more just asinine news. But when
are we going to have to move? Is that soon?
Wherever it is, it'll be to the same neighborhood.
Yeah, but like, is it soon? Should we be getting paperwork in order? I'm getting concerned.
What sort of where are you moving?
I don't know.
What sort of paperwork?
Canada? You need a visa.
It's so chilly there.
We live in Chicago.
I know, but if I'm going to move, I want to move somewhere warmer.
Yes, but good luck finding a place that speaks English.
I'm versatile.
I'm not open to learning another language.
I'm like, and we're moving to Venezuela.
No.
I'm all for people having as many children as they want to have. Like, I'm not like, keep it to 2 or less here. I'm just saying, like, if you want to have 6 kids and you have the means of taking care of 6 kids, then like,
go with God.
Go off, queen. But we need different programs to support that.
How about we just improve the conditions in which women are having children? Like, it's more dangerous to have children here than many places in Europe.
Also true.
So how about we fix that one, RFK, and worry about autism after that?
I wasn't going to do this dilemma because it wasn't next on my list, but it's related to some of
Okay.
the things we've discussed.
Give it
So
to us.
we'll bump it to the top. So this person writes in and said, I'm wondering if you guys can comment on going through IVF and having parents who are unsupportive. My parents are very Catholic and have made their views about IVF known. After 2+ years of failed medicated and IUIs, my husband and I are now in the beginning stages of IVF. I haven't told my parents yet, and I'm not sure how to go about the conversation. I can't really even imagine telling them, especially my mom, as we're super close, but I just know how they feel about it. I'm nervous about them saying something hurtful, not being supportive, and this tarnishing my relationship with them. I would love any guidance on this conversation, especially if you can comment on being Catholic and going through it.
I'm like 99% sure the Catholic Church doesn't care about IVF as long as you use the actual genetic material of the couple.
Well, this is what I was going to ask you as someone, our Catholic
Resident Catholic
expert. What is the church? What are they against?
I'm pretty sure, again, it's dicey to call me the resident Catholic because I'm quite unfamiliar with many of their policies, but
Closest thing to a resident Catholic we've
yeah,
got.
my recollection is that it's a kind of a gray area. A lot of Catholics, even devoted Catholics, are okay with it, and their big thing is that you should be using, what they don't like is like sperm donors,
Okay.
like using a sperm donor that you don't know, like from a sperm bank, or using a donor egg. But like using artificial means to create a child within a marriage. Now again, I'm fine with both of those things. I'm just saying the Catholic Church doesn't love that. But I don't think they're expressly against using those sort of means, like if you take the wife's egg and the husband's sperm to do IVF.
Okay. So here's the answer.
Okay.
Again, according to the National Institute of Health, the Catholic Church outwardly opposes IVF primarily because it views the procedure as a violation of human dignity and a separation of the procreative act from the marital act.
I think though that's like old school Catholics.
And also does not support the potential for manipulation and destruction of human life through the creation and disposal of embryos, like embryos that you then don't use.
That I know they're opposed to.
Well, that is, you can't use all your embryos.
No, but you can like store them and then donate them, which they still don't love, but they don't like donate them to science or things like that.
They
Like,
don't want that.
They don't want that, but they want it even more. They want that more than the destruction. There's a whole subset because they believe like I don't know what the word is when it's IVF, insemination, I think it still is, that becomes a life. So the idea that you would just toss these away is no good.
But they think that, like, what's the point of marriage then if you're going to do IVF? Is that what it boils down to?
No, I don't think that's it. I think it's that they don't. I think probably the more paramount issue, like let's say in the future, IVF could get more specific in the sense that like you don't have a ton of extra, like they could figure it out where they could get one egg, and one sperm sample, and like there would be less opportunities for waste. Air quotes around that. I'm not saying it's waste. I think you would see them get more on board. I think they don't like number one, I know they don't like the picking of the gender and eliminating a bunch of embryos based on scientific things. Most mainstream also we're speaking about like the head honchos of the church. There's a lot of people who are devout practicing Catholics who are fine with it.
As someone who knew nothing about this, I was like, why would they care? Well, like, how are the two even related?
The big thing, and I said this before, I get it if you really feel this way, is they believe the minute that the sperm and the egg are connected, it's a child. So the idea that there's a petri dish of children somewhere in their mind, like picture little babies, the way you feel about it, just being discarded.
The way I feel about what?
Like babies, like the way
that a regular person feels about like a 2-month-old baby.
Like a newborn. They're like, there's a petri dish of newborns being tossed out.
Well, that is really upsetting.
Which would be really upsetting.
Yeah.
So I can get on board with that. But most Catholic, I mean, again, I don't know this woman's parents, but I know quite a few Catholics who are not at all opposed to IVF. I think it's more common to not oppose IVF in the Catholic community than oppose it. It's like some real rigid Catholic shit.
Well, our advice, I think, would be, I guess my advice would be, offer some of these facts about IVF, because maybe they're not up to date on the new IVF things aligning with Catholic views. And you obviously have to tell them.
Do you though? That was my question.
Well, you're going through this like thing, isn't it? Like you want to loop your support system in, or no?
But yes, if it's a support system.
Oh, so you think she just goes through IVF and doesn't say? She's
I
like, I
don't
got pregnant
know.
naturally.
I'm thinking through it. I'm normally not that person. I'm usually like, honesty is the best policy. But I just know that some of these like really ingrained religious beliefs are not going anywhere.
They're here to stay.
Like when you get a really devout Catholic or like a really Orthodox person or like a really like they've spent their life being committed to this belief system. Very rarely can you present information to them that changes how they feel.
And I also think, to go off of your point, it sounds like from this that they've obviously discussed IVF because like
she knows.
The parents have talked to this girl about it because like she's probably said like this could be in the future, and they're like, we don't support it, whatever. So if they've already made that clear, knowing that it could be a possibility, then like that kind of tells us where they stand. The only reason I say you should be honest about it is because like I don't know, but I think IVF is like a very intense,
for sure,
like not procedure, but like experience. Like it's a long, aren't there like injections?
Oh
and,
yeah,
like,
it's really hard on your body.
So like to not be able to like lean on your close loved ones when you are doing that sucks.
But my question is, will you be able to lean on them regardless? So I'm in this new era that I'm adapting. It's like protect your peace sort of thing.
Ah, a new era.
It's my new era. Because I used to be that like, I'm going to like show up and I'm going to make you agree with me and I'm going to make you want to do this and I'm going to show you reason. And I've started to realize as I've gotten older that like that's not really possible most of the time.
Yeah, we can't do all that.
And I would never support not sharing with your parents if they're like deeply supportive people who like want to be there for you. I think it's silly when people like keep things close to the vest when they have this whole network of people who want to be supportive. But if you're about to go through something that's so trying, you should lean on the people who support you, and like don't give people who don't support it any space to bring negativity to your life, because it's going to be hard enough as is to introduce like conflict with your parents, and it's going to be detrimental to your relationship. I'm either way though, I think it's detrimental. Like if you tell them and they react poorly, you're going to be devastated, and if you don't tell them and it creates distance, you're going to be devastated, but at least you're not fighting.
And just to clarify, the parents are probably fine with the IUI and everything else?
I don't know. Probably IUI, because that falls under the no genetic waste. Like,
oh, right.
You're not disposing of anything. And you're only using your husband's sperm and your already existing eggs. You're not doing anything with them.
It's just like aiding the natural process.
It's like the concept that you could manipulate it with science. You could then select which embryo to implant. You can discard ones that you don't want to implant.
So yeah, you know what? I think maybe you just fudge it a little bit and say it's IUI.
Yeah.
You don't have to totally be like, we got pregnant naturally.
Totally.
Because you've already
they
told them
might think it's a miracle.
Yeah. As it is.
Yeah.
You've already told them about the IUI and they're obviously okay with it. So you just say you're doing IUI again, but you're doing it a different way. So then you can like share with them if you're feeling shitty or whatever it is. And obviously like be honest with the people who are going to support you. Maybe you have a close friend or like
for sure have a
sibling, have some other people who you can talk to about it. But yeah, you're right. It's not worth it to be honest with them. Sometimes it's not worth it to be honest.
Honesty is not always the best policy.
You're right.
And I say that sadly because I love honesty.
Me too. But
some people can't handle the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
Some people can't.
Yeah, I begrudgingly agree.
It's sad. It's a sad world. And then when your kid is like 7 and they're obsessed with your kid, you say, you know what's crazy?
Undeniably obsessed. Yeah.
And you say, you know what's crazy? And your mom goes, what? And she looks lovingly at her grandchild. That he's here because of IVF and you're so opposed to it. Mic drop.
Well, I don't know if that's...
Okay, well, we'll think about that.
We'll think about that. Maybe like, you know, on her deathbed or something.
Deathbed. Yeah, that's good to drop info.
Just like clear your conscience. Bye, Mom.
Yeah, that seems better. Well, that was riveting.
I hope that helps.
And I'm sorry you're going through it.
But
We wish you luck.
We're here.
We wish you luck.
And we'll call you later.
Call you later. Love ya.
Love ya.
Bye.
Bye.